Okay guys, I'm back again with another project that I'm going to attempt to do. I'm going to try to make 2 end tables and a coffee table. I did these and posted them on YouTube not too long ago. These are smaller to go beside our recliner. And since I did those, I've had people see them, and then there's somebody that actually wants an end table and a coffee table, but they want them designed exactly like I did those smaller tables. So I'm gonna go ahead and get all my wood together and start getting it all cut down to size and see if we can do this.
What I'm gonna do with these 2 pieces is I'm gonna have to rip them on my table saw. As you can see right here, if I was trying to glue them together, it's a bad gap. So I'm gonna take and run each edge down my table saw, make it a smooth cut. Then I'll probably install some pocket holes and some clamps. And that way this seam right here will close up tight and look like it's one piece of wood. This is going to be the coffee table top. I'm running them through to get a good edge and see how good they join together. This is my 2 halves for the coffee table, here and here. I've already got the edges cut and smooth. I've got my pocket hole jig. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put pocket holes on the ends, and I'll probably put 2 in the center too, because when I glue this together, this is the underside of the table. I'm gonna go ahead and use the pocket screws to squeeze it together along with the clamps to help that glue adhere and keep a smooth edge. All right, I have my pocket holes done. I've already put the screws in there. Now all I need to do is add glue to the edge. I'm gonna do glue on both edges and then tighten the pocket hole screws down to where it joins that joint together, and then put clamps on it. All right, as you can see, I've got all 3 tops done. This is going to be the coffee table top. These 2 is going to be the end table tops. The glue's just about, I removed the clamps, so the glue's just about done setting, but I'm going to let it set a little longer. And once all this is glued, the glue is dry, I'm going to run all the edges, all 4 edges back to my table saw to clean up these edges and make them look a little bit better, because I'm going to end up having to route them also. So I'm gonna let these sit a little longer, and we're gonna go ahead and get started on the legs. And sorry for the background noise. I got my wood stove going because it's a little chilly in here. All right, what I have here, this is a 2 by 10 by 12. I'm gonna cut all my legs out of this like I did the previous project. I did it all out of a 12 inch wide board. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut all these down to size. I'm cutting the end table legs at 22.5 inches long. And then once I get them done, I'm gonna take this over here to my table saw and I'm gonna rip them, and I'll probably do them 2 3/4 inches wide. That way I can get a good 3 legs out of every cut. Beginning stages of the leg. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut a 1/2 inch off of each end of this with the table saw, because my table saw blades it does a lot better fine edge. So I'm going to go ahead and rip a 1/2 inch off of these, off all 3 pieces, and then I'm going to go ahead and rip them into the leg section. Now I have the saw set at 2 3/4, so I'm going to go ahead and rip these. I should get 3 out of this, so I'm going to go ahead and rip these in 3 to make the legs for the end table. If you're wondering why I choose to cut my boards from a solid sheet of wood, at my local hardware store, it is really, really hard to find a straight 2x4. I know you can buy 2x3s, you can buy 2x4s, but finding a straight one, you'll dig through the entire stack of lumber before you can actually find one that's not warped and not, perfectly straight. So I choose to buy the bigger boards that people don't dig through as much, and I just cut them down to the size that I need. I find out that it just works a little bit better and makes my life a little bit easier. I'm going to cut the coffee table legs at 19 inches in length. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these marked and cut these 4 legs out. Now I'm gonna do the same thing as I did the first time I did these. This is gonna be the top of the end table. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just using this as a rough draft. I wanna leave it with an inch overhang on each side. So I made those marks here and here. And I just need to know how big to make my brace for the middle. So I set them up where I want them, and I'm gonna measure it. And it's gonna be 14 1/4. So now I know I need to cut the rest of my wood 14 1/4. I'm gonna do one at the top, one at the bottom, and then do that on all the legs. To get my cross braces, I had these 3 pieces left over from scrap after ripping them through the table saw. So they are 2 3/4 wide, and what I want to do is I want to get 2 braces out of each because I really don't want a wide brace. So I'm gonna I'll probably cut it in half and see 2 3/4. I believe half of 2 3/4 would be 1 3/8. So here's 1 3/8. So I'm just gonna measure that up on the table saw and rip them right down the center. Just a side note, I just set that up on the table saw. Now normally when I do a mark and I cut on the outside of the line. Like if here's my line, I would put the blade here. But since this has got to be 1 3/8 dead center, I set the 1 3/8, the mark is dead center of the saw blade. That way I know it'll give me 2 complete even pieces, because you got to take into account the thickness of the saw blade. So I got it set dead center of the saw blade at 1 3/8, and when I rip this through, it should make both of these sides exactly the same. All right, now I'm gonna route all the pieces that I've already cut for the legs. This right here is what the piece looks like now. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna do a little small round over just to make the edges a little smooth. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this fired up and get it going. Okay, now I'm getting ready to do the not so fun part, is sand. I'm gonna start off with 100 grit sandpaper because some of this wood is kind of like this one right here. It's kind of rough shape. So I'm gonna start off with 100 so I don't have to spend so much time on it. And I'm gonna jump from 100 straight to 220 to make it smooth. All right, after all that sanding, which I don't like so much, I have my 4 legs for one end table, the other 4 legs for the other end table, the shorter 4 legs for the coffee table, and right now these are the 8 braces that I will use with the 2 end tables. I'm still gonna have to cut my braces for the coffee table. I have not done that yet, but I do have extra wood sitting over on my lawnmower, and that's what I'll cut those out with. Now I'm going to add pocket holes to all my leg supports. And these pocket holes at the top right here, they're the ones that's going to go into the top of the table. And right here's your pocket holes. I finally got the tops done after a lot of sanding with the belt sander because it was a little uneven. But I routed the edge with the little round over and with about 1/4 inch of a lip on it. Here's the 2 end tables. But as you can see, you'd really have to look hard to see where that joint went together. And I got the pocket holes on the bottom. So the joint's right here. I think it did really good. And now the only thing left is to put some stain and polyurethane on that. And I have all my other legs and everything that I'm going to assemble, but I'm going to do that in the morning. So that's it for now, and then in the morning I'll come back and try to finish it all up. Okay, now we're going to assemble the legs. I put this down because I know that this is completely a flat edge. So what I'm going to do is I got this clamp to my table. I'm going to lay these out, and I'm going to butt these all up together. And this way I can put in my screws in my pocket holes on each side. And I'm gonna have to do one at the bottom. And I know that it's gonna keep everything flat right across the top of the edge. For the bottom supports, what I did is I came from the bottom of the leg, measured up 7 inches, and I made a mark on each side. So what I'll do is I will take the top of the crossbar, line it up with those 2 lines, and then I'll slide my pocket screws in. All right, I've got the legs done. I went ahead and put glue in these slots. I'm not gonna put the pocket plugs in here yet because I got to put the screws through to go into the table. I did that mistake on my on my last project. So I got the glue in here. These are the little plugs you can buy at your local hardware store. It goes along with the Kreg Jig. So they merely slide right into that slot. Just like this. All right, now pick this up and bring it closer. So that's what they look like, and once the glue dries, I'll go back and sand it if there's any raised edges or what on it. And once it's painted, you really would have to look hard to be able to see that there was ever a screw there. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and start the staining process. I always use a terry cloth, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stain the bottoms first, of course. I'm gonna put the stain on really heavy, and I'm gonna let it set for probably 10 minutes or so, and then I'll go back and wipe every bit of it off, and it should give me, with the one coat, it should give me the look I'm going for. I've got all the legs painted and they're ready to go, and now I got to get the tops back in the garage and polyurethane those. Now I'm getting ready to do polyurethane. See, one of these things is rustic, and as you can see, I used a belt sander and I really hit it hard with a coarse belt, trying to get these scratches into the wood. You can see them right here. So I'm still pondering the idea whether I want to take and sand certain spots to make that look distressed too, but we'll see. All right, I seem to have lost a clip somewhere. It must have went to Alpha Centauri. But anyway, I was going to show you how, the way I got this 1 inch gap here and made sure it was level or even. I had this sitting flush on my workbench. I had this piece of 3/4 inch scrap wood in my garage, and then I went on a table saw and cut another piece of scrap wood to 1/4 inch. So basically what I did is I put those two together, which made them exactly 1 inch, laid them on the workbench like this, and I rested the legs on top of that so it would make up the difference in the gap when I put my screws in. In other words, to get a better look at it, as it was sitting all flat on the workbench, I had the table laying on the side, and that's how I fixed that gap to where I could get them legs in and get them on there the way I wanted. All right, as you can see, I went ahead and put the pocket hole plugs in there all the way around. Now I'm gonna let the glue dry, and then I'm gonna hit it with the sander and then touch it up with the paint. We're almost on the home stretch now. All right, finally finished my 2 end tables and my coffee table. Sun's getting ready to set, so I'll do a quick walk around and let you see what it looked like. All right, that'll be it for this video. And like always, if you have any questions, shoot me a comment and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. And if you like my video, hit me with a thumbs up, and also subscribe if you like what you see on my channel. I'm gonna try to do more projects in the future when I get time. So thank you for watching.